Good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of ASEC Conversations. Today, our special guest is Ray Anderson, Vice President of University Athletics at Arizona State University. At this time, I'll turn it over to our host, Ashley Hammett. Ashley?
Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. So, you were named Athletic Director for ASU in January of 2014. What was your primary goal going into the position?
Well, we wanted to, very frankly, upgrade the position. When I came in and talked to Dr. Crow, I think the perception of ASU athletics nationally was that it was a sleeping giant, which is code for underperforming and not quite up to living standards. So the goal was to come in and revitalize the sleeping giant and get us up and walking around and being very relevant in athletics in the Pac-12 and nationally.
The university president has 3 priorities for the ASU Athletics. 1, for student athletes to maximize their academic achievement and graduate. 2, for them to win. And 3, for them to win within the rules. How do you instill these priorities not only with the student athletes, but with the coaches and staff as well?
Well, you're very straight in your communications about the fact that those 3 things are not requests. They are instructions. They are prerequisites for being a part of Sun Devil athletics and our culture and what we're trying to build here. So academic success. You certainly want to win on the field and on the courts. That's what competitions is about. But you also want to win within the rules, be compliant, be fair, be equitable. So those 3 things you just at the beginning make very clear. Those are prerequisites to being a part of the Sun Devil athletics family. And we set them out and we make sure that the folks who are agreeing to join us comply or are willing to comply and accept those as just basic things that you need to join us.
You are and will be key to the evolution of ASU's athletic facilities. The 5-year, $300 million renovation to the Sun Devil Stadium was completed just before the start of the 2019 season. Can you tell us about some of the new features and innovations?
Well, it certainly, for our student athletes, gives you first-class training and development and strength and conditioning and athletic training facilities. That was very important. The student athletes are the ones who go out there and provide, very frankly, the elite varsity competition that our students, our fans, our alums want to see. So you need to make sure that their facilities are up to par. It certainly helps with recruiting, but it helps with the whole upgrade of our department. And interwoven into all that, also very importantly, was significant upgrades to our academic facilities and the offerings and the study halls and the programs that go along with it. So a combination of things have made it a much more of a commitment, a statement to how important athletics are here and how we want to make sure that our student athletes are given every opportunity to be successful in the reasons they're here: academics, and certainly athletic performance. It's been a great addition. And then it also has a lot of community-facing components. We have rooms for conferences and meetings and a bunch of events that the public and high schools and other civic organizations have been able to hold here. And so it's been a nice community addition as well. It's a wonderful facility, and no question in our minds now one of the top 5 collegiate stadiums in the country.
With the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, what do you see ahead for ASU football this fall?
Certainly, we're dealing with the challenges like everyone else, trying to figure out when, very frankly, the virus will let us come back in some reasonable capacity. But it's not just about football. We've got soccer and we've got volleyball and we've got cross country. While people are focusing on the football, the fact is that we play a multiple number of sports, and fall sports for all of our student athletes are important. Football economically, financially, is what allows us to essentially support the other programs for the most part. So getting football up and running is a priority. So everything in terms of bringing them back to campus, return to play, is geared toward what medically is the best for the health and safety of our student athletes. And a lot of people, athletes, frankly, don't have the answer to those questions because it's so fluid. Every day it seems to change. And so I can't give you a specific other than to tell you we hope to play, whether it's all or a portion of a season. At this point, with 2 months to go before kickoff, really almost 3 months, no one really knows. I'm hopeful, but I can't tell you.
And then what are your thoughts on football being played without fans? And what do you think about football going forward with students not in classes on campus?
Well, I think in terms of not playing without fans, if you'd asked me 6 or 8 weeks ago if I thought that was palatable, I would have gone, oh, yuck, we can't possibly play without fans. But as this thing has evolved, and then very frankly, the thought that people want football, that they want football, and also from the business point of it, very frankly, the networks pay you for being able to broadcast a football game. And so a lot of the revenue is generated by broadcast. So if you play with 50,000 people, if you play with 50 people in the stands, as long as the TV people can broadcast, then you have a chance to financially make it work. But you would only do that if, in fact, you could guarantee that the health and safety of the players and the folks necessary to support putting on a game, even with just 50 people in the stands, you can figure all that. You can present that with health and safety at its highest level humanly possible. Then you could do it. In terms of playing without students on campus, you could play with, we have a big online campus presence anyway, right? A big online presence. But it would not feel right just intuitively to think that you would put on a football game if it wasn't safe enough, at least in some way, shape, or form, to have some of our students on campus, because you never want to be able to say, well, if it's not safe enough for at least some of our students to be on campus, well, why is it safe to expose our student athletes? That there's a disconnect there. So I would not feel comfortable saying we're going to put you out there at all costs, even if it's not safe enough for some students to be on campus. We're going to keep them away, but we're going to make you play. That doesn't float with me. And if you say, well, we can do some fans because we can make it safe enough where you can do some fans in the stands, but you can certainly make it safe enough to put on a football game, then I think we would be willing to do that, given all we know now about this virus. And very frankly, there is a thought that you can manage it, particularly with a younger, healthier group of student athletes than maybe if you were dealing with a bunch of old folks like myself.
And the NCAA gave one additional year of eligibility to 2020 senior student athletes competing in spring sports. What are your thoughts regarding the increasing competition this creates within the team? And do you think many seniors will return for another year?
I think the competition is going to be great because you've got seniors coming back and you got freshmen coming in, and you've got the other classmen who have now they've got one more year of experience under their belt. So the competition for playing time on a team is going to be intense. But if you put those rosters together in terms of competing against other institutions, we could be very solid. Certainly, I can tell you, our men's and women's golf teams, with the seniors that we're able to bring back to go along with the up-and-comers and young folks that we're bringing in, they could be dangerous in terms of national competition. So I think it's a wonderful thing. You come here to win and play for championships. And if you're denied that opportunity, and we can figure out financially how to do it, and we have been able to do that, about 75% of the seniors who were eligible will be coming back to compete again.
You were also part of a group of minority athletic directors to meet with the NCAA president, Mark Emmert, and the NCAA leadership at the 2016 college football playoffs in Phoenix to encourage diversity and inclusion in athletics leadership. 4 years later, where do you think these efforts stand?
Well, when I was with the NFL, I was part of the Rooney Rule implementation, which became adopted, and certainly with regard to head coach and some senior positions, that you had to make sure you had diverse slates, you had diverse folks on your committee who are interviewing candidates coming in. And in the NFL, with 32 teams, a private entity, you could actually make it mandatory. You can't do that at the collegiate level. So what ended up out of those efforts was a presidential pledge where presidents across the various NCAA divisions were asked to sign a pledge that said diversity inclusion would be a very important part of the way forward. The last count 4 years later, you had about 80% of the presidents who had actually signed. So we didn't get 100% participation. There's still a long ways to go because the strides in terms of, very frankly, getting African-American opportunities in head coaching and other positions has not seen any real progress. And so at the end of the day, at this point, it has underachieved, not reached its goal. I'm personally disappointed that it hasn't resulted in more real action. And so at this point, it's a pledge, in my view, very frankly, and I haven't said this to anyone publicly, but I'm saying it to you, it's a pledge without a purpose at this point. And you need to step up and actually walk the walk. We're doing more talking than we are walking. And you can put that out there as a challenge to the NCAA and all the presidents as far as I'm concerned.
The national trend in collegiate athletics seems to be in reducing the number of sports offered. However, you have expanded educational and scholarship opportunities for student athletes, including reinstating men's tennis at ASU, to which you and your wife were a leading contributor. Can you tell us why this is so important to you?
I think the student athlete experience is one of the most wonderful things any young person could go through because it teaches you all kind of life skills that I think carry over. Time management, selflessness, dedication, commitment, team focus. And I think those things translate into being successful in whatever you want to do going forward. So I just really believe that it should be as broad as possible. We should scale as many collegiate sports opportunities available for men and women. And so I'm a big believer that Arizona State University is the largest public institution in the country. We brag about that all the time. But when I came into this position, we had only 22 varsity sports. And I look up and Cal had 30 something, Stanford had 36 or 37, UCLA at the time was in the high 20s, and I'm going, we're Arizona State. We're the largest public university in the country. Athletic competition for men and women is so important. Why don't we have more, particularly in the Olympic sports? And so it became important to me to say, let's not just talk the talk, let's walk the walk. So we added tennis, men's tennis back. We added women's lacrosse. We added women's triathlon, and we've added upgraded men's ice hockey to varsity. So we now have 26 varsity sports. In my view, it's still not enough. I'm going to keep striving. Some people think I'm crazy because you actually have to then finance and support this stuff. And so we've been able to, very frankly, inspire people to donate and give. The fact that my wife and I were blessed enough to be able to make a lead contribution to tennis and make a lead contribution to or at least a significant contribution to redoing this stadium, it gives us, very frankly, I think, credibility. It gives us street cred when we're out there asking other folks to dig deep and go into their family resources to do something for Sun Devil athletics and our student athletes. So it's very important to me, Ashley, because I just believe the experience of varsity competition, academic rigor and athletic rigor, you put those together, you can make some real good leaders and some good impactful folks going forward.
You have successfully brought nationally recognized head coaches to ASU, including Herm Edwards, Bobby Hurley, and Bob Bowman. What is the most important thing you look for in a coach, and what are coaches looking for you as a department leader and in ASU?
The most important thing I look for is I want passion, and I want genuine commitment to the student athlete experience. And I really make a emphasis that when we say student athlete, we mean academics at the highest level and athletic performance at the highest level. I've been a personal beneficiary of that, having had the opportunity to play at Stanford and get an education at Stanford, and it led me to Harvard Law School. And those experiences have given me an appreciation of what good academics and good athletics can do. So I want to see if you're really passionate about those things. And then the other thing I want out of coaches is I want to see who's really committed about building their own dynamic program, taking ownership and doing something special, something different, something that you could say, I really made an impact. I made a difference in the lives of young men and women. So a combination of commitment and passion, and then the hunger to kind of not just do what everyone else has done, but really geared toward building something special. I try to put all those things together and see if we can select some good coaches and some good leaders and some good teachers and educators of our student athletes.
Last week, ASU had the #1 draft pick in the Major League Baseball with Spencer Torkelson. Have you had a chance to speak with him, and what has he meant to the ASU baseball program?
We're proud of Spencer and our 4 other players who were drafted in those first 5 rounds. I left Spencer a long phone message, as I did our other 4 baseball players who got drafted. But Spencer being the first guy taken in the Major League draft is an indication of how our coaches have done recruiting, how our facilities have attracted the attention of some of the top student athletes in the country. In the Pac-12, in the draft, they had 12 players total drafted in the first 4 rounds. ASU had 5 of the 12 in the conference. So what that is a very strong message to other aspiring baseball players who want to come to college to play. They know we've got the facilities. They know we've got the coaching and development staff. They know we have the will to be a top baseball program. And so that really helps in terms of recruiting and branding. We got more national attention last week in the baseball draft than any other college in the nation, because we had 2 guys in the first round with the #1 pick. That's really, really good marketing for us, not just in baseball, but across the sports. And very frankly, it reflects well in our university.
You have emphasized a commitment to the Olympic movement as a university and athletic department. Why has this been important to you, and will such efforts continue to be such a main focus?
Certainly will be a main focus as long as I'm sitting in the seat, because I believe in across the board opportunities. And I believe in the Olympic sports. We're the Pac-12, we're the Conference of Champions, which means we provide more Olympians than any other conference in the country. And so I think Olympic sports for the teaching, learning, development opportunities. And I love the Olympic sports because it provides, very frankly, more opportunities for our women to co-compete. We're not finished. I've said very clearly, and some people think I'm nuts, if Stanford and UCLA and Cal are competing in the high 20s and Stanford in the 30s, at some point I'd love this university to be able to compete in everything that they compete in, because I want to go one-on-one. It doesn't matter to us if they've got field hockey. At some point we should have field hockey so we can go head to head. Whatever sport you have in the Pac-12, I want ASU competing in it.
You were named to the Forbes magazine list of the 25 most influential minorities in sports in 2016 for helping position Arizona State as one of the most innovative brands in college sports. What do you think is the most innovative achievement to date?
I think expanding our opportunities for our student athletes. The fact that we have added 4 sports, and it's not inexpensive to do it, but you've got to have the will. So the ability to figure out how you do that and how you add, and very frankly, how you are able to afford to do that, inspire people to help you pay for that. I'm probably most proud of that, because that's impact. we're here to develop leaders, and we want to develop more. So adding 4 additional sports gave us the opportunity to have a broader impact, and we're very proud of that.
You joined ASU after serving as the Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the NFL. While there, you were recognized with the Paul J. Tagliabue Award and the John Wooten Lifetime Achievement Award for outstanding leadership with a desire to improve your community. What do you think is key to improvement, no matter what the community, no matter what the sports, and otherwise?
You hear me say you got to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. You actually have to model the behavior. And so in my way of thinking, that's why me and my wife, Buffy, said, if we're going to ask people to significantly put up their resources to bring back tennis and expand sports, we've got to be able to do that as well. So to actually do it, not just talk about it, is most important. So I like to believe that we are doers. I'm not going to ask anyone to do anything that I'm not personally willing to commit to, including, very frankly, financially. And so that for us has been the key. Model the behavior and the conduct that you're asking others to do, particularly when you want them to support things that may not directly benefit them. Our philosophy is we're surrogate parents to all of our student athletes. And so our whole philosophy is think about and treat and try to provide an environment and culture and services to all of our student athletes as if they were our own child. There are surrogate children. So hopefully that thinking takes you to a different level of commitment and tenacity and purpose.
What is one word that you would use to describe yourself and why?
Intentional. I don't do many things without an intent, having thought through it and determining for myself, why is it important? Why is it something I want to do or should do? So I've been intentional most of my life, and I think remain so. I hope that doesn't sound harsh or robotic, but I can't help it. I'm just an intentional personality, I guess.
And what do you believe are your most important contributions to the world of sports?
That I really am intentional about providing opportunities for others to experience it and then hopefully advance. I've always been very proud when I've been able to offer internships opportunity or job opportunities or first-time opportunities for certain folks who maybe, if they were talking with someone else, maybe wouldn't get those opportunities, to be able to just expand by hopefully being creative in how you think about the world, to provide additional opportunities for others. I'm most proud of some of the young folks who have come up with me when I started my own business years and years ago, or brought them in as interns in my young company when I started. And I look up now, 20, 30 years later, and those folks are in the business, doing well, have expanded and done some things. I'm most proud of that, is that, I've kind of got a bunch of folks who kind of started their young careers with me, and now they're out there actually making some noise, and I'm proud of that.
And then finally, could you tell us what exactly is the Sun Devil Way?
The Sun Devil Way is a commitment to our student athletes and their development, whereby integrity, the importance of hopefully having an impact, social justice, you're conscientious, that your performance in the classroom is every bit of as important as your performance on the athletic field, and that you want to take advantage of the resources and opportunities here, take full advantage, so that you take those out into the next chapter of your life and really make something worthy of it, and then spread those things to others to scale.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us.
It has been my pleasure, Ashley, and good luck to you as you continue with what will undoubtedly be a wonderful career.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time today, Ray. We certainly appreciate it. And to all of you who tuned in, thank you. We'll see you next time on ASEC Conversations.